Hey everybody,
I want to watch this about Disney Plus.
how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Today we're going to be discussing what you probably already know if you've been watching this channel for a while, which is why using streaming services went from being a really smart way to avoid the aggravation of having to go through 20 different NZB sites and torrent sites and Emule to try and find what you were looking for, to a completely nonsensical way to consume media. Whether you're talking about streaming sites that restrict you from getting high-resolution content unless you use a piece of hardware that is fundamentally spyware, or you're dealing with a streaming company that says if you pay us more money, you'll avoid the ads, and then gives you the ads. Just so you know, BlackBerry, some of our viewers do have a subwoofer, so when you do that, you're really fucking with them.
They're so stupid.
BlackBerry?
Damn, bro, he just doing whatever he wants.
You have so many toys. You have 7 scratching posts, 3 cat trees, all
Cat's
these little
just
things
ruining
on the floor,
the whole fucking
and you
video.
have to fuck with the microphone. Every fucking video.
Because he's talking to the microphone and giving it attention. That's the reason why. Needs the alinity treatment.
Every fucking video.
Well, I remember whenever that cat bit her arm. Oh my god. That is one of my favorite clips of all time. No, I think it's a big problem. Like, streaming services, they've kind of like, you know how like Spotify? Spotify is what Netflix should have been. If Netflix is Saruman, Spotify is Gandalf. This is the way Netflix should have fucking turned into. This is what it should have been. Yes, as it was meant to be. Because Spotify has fucking everything. Imagine if you had to go to like Tidal, Apple Music, Amazon Music, and like, you know, like let's say Apple Music has Taylor Swift, Amazon Music has Rolling Stones. You can't listen to The Weeknd unless you go on Spotify, and then on Tidal there's like the new Kanye album, right? Oh my god. How annoying would that be? That's what I think.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Welcome to today's episode of How You're Getting Effed. I'm your host, Louis Rossman. And today we're going to discuss one of many reasons that using streaming services, if to consume your media, is not a great way to consume your media in 2025. Back in the day, it was a really nice idea. You pay $10 or $30 a month, and you wind up getting an ad-free viewing experience where you're able to consume all different types of media. You no longer have to deal with NZBs. You no longer have to go to torrent sites or share.
And torrent sites are inconvenient. Spotify is more convenient to me than pirating music. And the price that I pay for that is worth it.
Or IRC, DDC bots, or whatever the hell else you were using in order to get your media. You could actually just pay for it like a normal person. You could have everything right there. You don't have to fuck with anything. You don't have to worry about, oh, this version I downloaded is corrupt, or I don't have enough part 2 files for this. Not enough seeders to get the ends of this. It's great. Until now, you have all these fracturing of different services where you have to have 4 or 6 different streaming services in order to get the media that you want. A lot of streaming services will pull certain things that you may have subscribed to them for. You have streaming services that will not allow you to get the high resolution version of your content unless you watch it on a device that's kind of spyware. And now you have Disney and other streaming providers as well doing this thing where what you paid for an ad-free subscription plan, you paid extra for the ad-free subscription plan, and then they send you a notice that looks like this. We are clarifying that as we continue to increase the breadth and depth of the content we make available to you, circumstances may require that certain titles and types of content include ads, even in our no ads or ad-free subscription tiers.
How is this not false advertising? Oh, that's right. It is. So, when you say no ads, and then there's ads, I think somebody here is fucking lying. I'm just saying. This is insane. I would unsub immediately. I think that these companies do this in shitification because the government lets them. You know what I think people should be able to do? I think they should be able to get their money back. If you paid for the ad-free service, you should immediately get your fucking money back proactively if they've changed it. Because now they have changed the nature of the deal inside of the contract, and they have removed the fact of the main advertising feature. Retroactively? Well, what I think is that if you paid for, let's say, a 6-month plan, and you're 3 months into the plan, I think you should get 3 months back for the money. Like, you should be able to cancel your shit and get your money back from this. Class action lawsuit win? Yeah. And it's just crazy that, yeah, it's a 1-year standard. Now, I don't think you should get money back. You already watched it before. That's fine. But they're double dipping. They are. Yes, they're literally, yeah, Disney, bro, like, what is this? Disney thinks that they have the IP rights to Darth Vader's negotiation tactics. I've altered the deal. Pray that I don't alter it any further. This is insane.
And then when you read their agreement, service tiers with or without ads. We offer different Disney Plus and Hulu service tiers, some with advertisements and some predominantly without. Service tiers described as no ads or ad-free are generally free of commercial interruptions, with certain exceptions that may change from time to time, including where 1. Streaming rights or other limitations require certain content to play with ads. Or 2. Ads are served in certain live or linear content or special events and replays thereof. I can get that.
That's understandable, right? If, like, you watch the Super Bowl, for example, they might have some live ad inside of it. Or, like, if you watch a baseball game and you see ads along the, the field. I think that's reasonable and everybody can expect that.
No ads or ad-free service tiers may contain limited promotional content, such as brief clips about the bundles. Go away, including messages promoting an upgrade thereto, go away, and other content available on any services associated with the bundles and branded content, product integrations, or sponsorship messaging. Streaming rights or other limitations require certain content to play with ads is the main one here. And this is probably not going to be something people expected, but it actually really mirrors the problem with New York commercial real estate. There's something I was talking about for a long time on the channel where I walk down the street and every single shop says retail space available. Many of these places are still for lease today, and some of them have been for lease for anywhere from 5 to 10 years. You'll have a space that's about 2,000 to 3,000 square feet that's going for $75,000 a month. And you may wonder, how in God's name is that space vacant at $75K a month? Wouldn't they lower the price at some point? And the reality, as this expert had put it on Reddit, I can't believe I'm saying those words in the same sentence, but the reality is, this very smart gentleman put it, and I've confirmed this with many other people who work in the industry, is that when you have a commercial mortgage-backed security, there are many, many different investors that may own this building. There are institutional investors, individual investors, people who may not even know that they own shares of this particular building because of how that investment, how that financial security or instrument, however the fuck you want to call it. When I think of instrument, I think of Godowski and the little violin at the beginning of volume 12, not a financial product, but you get the idea. But you have people that own this building that may not even know. So if you want to change the asking rent, by changing the asking rent, you're adjusting the valuation of the building. And to do that, you may be marking up or marking down somebody's investment. To do that, you have to get buy-in from many different groups. And it's very difficult to get buy-in from all these different groups.
This is a good point that he's making.
One building, one store, have its rent lowered. So you wind up with to you, it may seem ridiculous that I can do 1-hour videos in one of the most densely populated cities in the world, going over all the empty vacant storefronts. But it's actually more sensible that they stay vacant than it is to contact hundreds or maybe thousands of people to get them all to come to a consensus on their investment being marked down so that this commercial real estate space can get rented to a flower shop or something. And this seems like a similar issue that you're having in streaming digital media. I completely understand that when you are trying to get every single piece of content on earth covered on one service for $10 to $20 a month, you have to wrangle together a lot of different companies. Many of these media companies have been purchased by media companies who've been purchased by media companies who they own the right to this and this person owns the right to that. And there's so much agreement that you have to come to in order to actually get working streaming service. And I understand that that's very, very difficult. I feel for you. At the same time, this doesn't mean jack shit to me as a...
Why would I give a fuck about your problem. Your excuse me. I love to breathe liquids sometimes. I love doing that. I do about once a week. Fuck. There is no benefit to me as the customer, and I can understand some business realities, but when your business reality creates a subpar product, don't expect people to buy it and just say, hey, it sucks, but that's the way it is. No, that's not just the way it is. Why would somebody want to sign up for that's just the way it is?
Viewer, the same way that everything involved in getting that space to be a reasonable rent doesn't mean jack shit to the guy that wants to run his flower shop who does not have $75,000 a month to spend on the space. This is not my problem. If I paid for an ad-free service and now the content that is included...
Exactly. Yes, this is, again, the customer always needs to be put first. A business must adapt to the market of customers. The customer should not have to adapt to a business that shifts its platform and changes the nature of the deals that the customer has already agreed to.
And the service has advertisements. You can gargle my balls. That's what we call a you problem.
True.
That's, my old receptionist veneer. I had some of the best employees in the world. Like a lot of the people that worked here, they worked here for a good 5 or 7 or 10 years before they went on to do other things. And some of them I still have after 7 or 8 years. Veneer was one of the best. She was from Kazakhstan, and she had a little bit of an accent. She would, every time some shit like this came up, she would always say something that I loved. It's like, sounds like a personal problem. And the way I'm never going to be able to say it exactly the way that she said it. It was just with so much sass and finesse to it. It was like, sounds like a personal problem. And that's what this is to me. Sounds like a personal fucking problem.
This is what streamers do too. Streamers always like to make excuses for why their content sucks dick. Why would anybody give a fuck about why your content sucks dick? Just stop sucking dick. Just stop doing it.
Understand that there are limitations on streaming rights and you're trying to wrangle all the stuff together, but that sounds like a personal problem between all of you. I don't want to deal with your personal problems. That's not my business. I paid for an ad-free service, and when people pay for an ad-free service, they expect to not see fucking advertisements, which is a great reason, again, to use plugins like Sponsor Block on YouTube. If you're one of the people that uses YouTube Premium, you pay them your $10 or $15 a month, and you still see ads baked into the fucking videos because the amount of money they're getting from the ad revenue is not enough. They can't ask you for the money, so they got to just dig in more.
Yep.
Use it. You paid for a fucking ad-free experience. Who am I to toss in ads afterwards? I think it's considerably more egregious when it happens here because Disney as a company is, doing
I have a mixed opinion about that. I can see where he's coming from, and I can also see a counter-argument to it. It's kind of beside the point. I don't really want to get into it. But yeah, I think ultimately streaming services that do it especially are extremely fucking annoying.
Better in the net profit region than your average YouTuber.
It's not worth our. It's not the point.
There's a video that I did that got quite a bit of pushback a year and a half ago. Piracy is completely justified. Lewis tries Netflix and remembers why. Where apparently I'm supposed to make myself aware of the half a dozen different restrictions on being able to stream 4K video that are not mentioned once on their fucking website. But if I pirate, I get full resolution for free.
That's right.
I have never...
I think that there is not really a moral evil that's committed or a moral wrongdoing that's committed if you, let's say, like you own a DVD and then you pirate a version of the DVD to have a digital version of it. I don't really think that there's been a moral crime committed there. It's like emulation. Yeah, it's just not really... Like, I think that if you're like if you're getting access to media that you haven't paid for or gone through the proper service to go through, like for example YouTube or whatever, then I think you could say that's unethical, definitely, because it like if everybody did that, it would cause the material to cease to function. But at the same time, if you did sign up for Netflix and you signed up to watch this show and now they're not letting you watch the show, but you signed up and they said you could and you pirate the show, is there really an ethical evil that's committed there? I think that if you want to be like very granular, you could make some arguments that I would have to agree with. But I think that in a general sense and in a just kind of common sense perspective, no. What about the law? You always have to follow the law, but that doesn't mean that you have to respect the law or agree with it. Those are two very different things.
In 27 years of being on the internet, seen an advertisement in something that I downloaded as an AVI file or a Matroska file or something. There's one time that I think Dimension left in like a 2 or 3 second clip of a commercial, and they wound up getting propered by CTU. But you don't see ads.
Yeah.
Ever.
Sure. True.
You don't have to deal with this. This is their personal problem. It's not yours. You're
That's
not
right.
crazy. You pay to not see ads. They put
That's
ads
right.
into it.
Remember, Twitch did this with Twitch Prime. And you know what Twitch Eaters did? Or sorry, I gave myself away. I said Twitch Eaters. What did Twitch viewers do? They became dick eaters. That's what they did. They ate that dick and they said, I want more. And now we have 3 minutes of ads. Same thing.
Block the ads. I went over this in the hierarchy of piracy in this manual that I did over here.
Yeah.
By the way, I realized that I accidentally changed the theme from Vector 2022 back to Vector, which is why the table of contents was gone. But look, you have a table of contents again. See? You wanted a table of contents, you got a table.
A switch. I remember in 2004 trying to understand the difference between a switch, a router, and a modem. So we could LAN and play Halo 2 on Xbox Live.
Of contents. Isn't it beautiful? This is Rossman's hierarchy of piracy over here. You have degraded physical media with no replacement available.
Y'all have
Degraded
the one
physical
that had
media
the two
replacement
little
available.
antennas on the
Lost
back?
digital purchase, no repurchase
I think it was
option.
like Linksys.
Lost digital purchase, repurchase available. The purchase that wasn't. You purchased digital media, but the company said, fuck you. Bait and switch streaming service. You paid for a streaming service, advertised with certain content. The content was removed and no refund option. Rental versus purchase confusion, the 4K lockout, DRM workarounds, and this is going to be somewhere in the realm of bait and switch streaming, which is you paid for an ad-free experience.
Well, it's not somewhere around. If you're paying for an ad-free experience, so there's an element of nuance to this that I think should be discussed, is that when you buy like a show, there are parts of that show that could be sponsored. And you could make the argument that paying for the show entitles you for the entire show, including the advertisements that are baked into the show itself. I think that the thing that people have a problem with is not that there are native ads inside of the content that they're watching in the same way that, the Super Bowl might have an ad, or like I think baseball is the best example, right? Where there's like, the guys are like batting and behind them, there's like an ad for Toyota or something like that, right? We're not asking for Disney to block that out. Like, that's clearly not what people are discussing. When Disney is going in and putting in ads on top of that is the problem. That's the actual issue. It's product placement after the fact of the original recording. So, like, for example, that's why even with sponsor block, okay, well, if you want to do that, that's fine. That's part of the video. But Disney putting extra stuff on top of that is way, way different, in my opinion. I think that's a totally different universe.
And they put ads into it anyway. This is different than I refuse to pay for shit even though I have the money for it.
Yeah.
These are very different things. I don't like that in many scenarios the same word gets used to describe people that are totally reasonable and people that would never pay for anything or ever support an artist ever just because they want to be dicks. I think the entertainment industry, as well as the entire streaming services industry, gives people more reason to sail the high seas every single day and be guilty.
They sure do. They really do. And I think streaming services are doing the worst job at it right now. I think that we are like 3 years away, probably less than that, from them unironically bundling streaming services again as cable TV again. And people saying, oh, this is so much better. Like, I think that we are about to come full circle.
You're doing so. I like supporting artists that I enjoy.
Great point of view. I really like the point of view that somebody in chat said that an Amazon Prime subscription functions that way. Really good point of view. I think that that is definitely a use case of what I'm talking about in a more abstract sense.
Amos box set. I've bought the DVD and Blu-ray copy of the 1991-1992 Live at Montreal concert.
Oh.
Red dress and blue dress one. I draw the line when I pay for an ad-free experience and you shove ads in anyway.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. With that, I'm going to get Blackberry a treat.
He's completely right. He's absolutely right. Let me link you guys the video. This is by design. They hate video streaming. They want to return to programming. I think that you're right. And I think, like, I mean, by the way, Louis, like, I support him, like, massively. I think that he's right about almost everything that he puts out there. I mean, I think that he has, like, very extreme opinions on things, but I think that those extreme opinions are informed by reality. I think that he's right about these extreme opinions, and they are accurate. So, yeah, they're having to store all their files online. Yeah, no doubt. Not only do you pay for it in one place, but 5 different places: Netflix, Disney Plus, HBO, etc., etc. Yeah. And I think that you are going to have people that are going to turn back around and they're going to start pirating again. And in the same way that Spotify took me away from pirating because of its service, I think Gabe Newell, there are cases where people pirate to save money. Absolutely. But there are also a lot of cases where, like, if I could give Nintendo money to just simply, like, if I could just give them money to where I can play Tears of the Kingdom on a PC with, like, 120 FPS, I would do that. I would prefer to do that. I would rather do that. I want to support them. And this is what's crazy, is that in a lot of these cases, it's people that are basically saying, we want to give you our money. We want you to have our money. Just take our fucking money. And you want to hear another example of that? You want to see another fucking example of that? Is Bloodborne. The reason why there's a PC emulation of Bloodborne is because people have been holding out for Sony to do it for years, and they never have. If Sony made a recreation of Bloodborne for PS5, not even a remaster, just like one that works on PC or whatever, and it's 60 FPS, everybody would buy it, and everything would be fine. So this is an actual example of piracy unironically being a service problem. I'll be right back. I just think that I think there's too many of these streaming services, and people are losing their fucking minds. And I think that this is the reason why, like, it's one of the reasons why I wasn't really even a big fan of, like, pushing, like, I never really pushed for people to subscribe or anything like that. Because, like, there's so many other things that, like, you have to subscribe to and do stuff for or whatever. It's like people know that they can, but, like, it's not a big deal. It doesn't really matter, right? SteamOS is the future. I've heard a little bit about that. Advertisements are inherently invasive. The less invasive you make them, the better. I prefer no advertisements, but it's a necessary evil. Here's how I see it. I don't mind YouTube advertisements. I know this might be controversial. I don't. I get a couple of ads at the beginning of a video, maybe one ad in the middle of a video. I fast forward past it. That's fine. Same, that's okay. And the reason why I don't mind it is because I understand that I'm receiving a product for free, and the person who is creating the product needs an incentive to make the product. And if I don't watch that ad, the incentive isn't there, and the product will not exist. I have no problem watching ads, but there is a line. And some people, especially Twitch, push that line. And they push it way too much. That's a lot. Didn't just call ad lovers on Twitch dick eaters. You're a dick eater. No, I think that there's a middle ground where it's okay to an extent.